What's going on, everybody? Ciodia here with another monthly media video. This time going over every piece of media that I completed in May of 2026. This should, in theory, be a short one, relatively, because to be honest, I really don't have all that much to say about these media, but either way, let's just go ahead and get into it. Coming in at number 10, the worst piece of media that I got through ends up being an 18 and up manhwa Man with a Ghost. Couple things worthy of note. The reason that I picked this up in the first place was because I was scrolling through Pinterest looking for fan art for edits, as one does, when I noticed the very same art that I used for this mosaic. I liked the art, I thought it was very pretty, so I went to go check it out online and realized that it was an 18 and up manhwa. Me personally, I've only ever read one called Depths of Malice, but in that story, there was story, like actual stuff happened, characters had motives, that kind of stuff, where like outside of like the beginning and the end of it, like the 18 and up scenes were used relatively sparingly. That's not the case for this one. Either way, I decided to catch up to it, and I mean, the art's really good. Like the actual, like, the talent of the artist is very much so on display. The main duo do have a good banter. I actually personally really enjoyed the non 18 and up content in the read. The problem is that that makes up like 20 to 30% of the read, if I'm being generous. Look, I'm just gonna shoot you straight. The blatant reality with this story is that most of the people that are reading it are not reading it for the sake of consuming media. I'm the weird one in this situation, absolutely. But as somebody who genuinely just read this from the viewpoint of consuming media, I can say with certainty that this is certainly a manhwa of all time. Either way, though, like I said, the art genuinely good. The main duo genuinely fun. If you're 18 and up and in need of smut, it was a solid read. Like, genuinely, like, the actual like slice of life content was actually like really fun to me. But again, that's like maybe 20% of the read. And then also just to like talk about it real quick, not to kink shame in any of that stuff. The body swap thing, a little weird, not gonna lie. Just for me, a little bit weird, a little bit weird. But whatever. 6 out of 10. At number 9, we have our first of two Punishing Gray Raven entries, this time being Arcade Anima Come Play, aka the Nanami Arcade Anima, and it was fun. Nanami is just such a trip throughout the whole thing, unshockingly. And the funniest aspect of the entire thing for me was the fact that she felt like such a self insert for the devs, but it also doesn't come across as unnatural at all because this is the eccentric whack job known as Nanami in the first place. I especially enjoyed the first stage personally with the different mechanics from normal. Just a fun little reprieve. 7.5 out of 10. At number 8, I have a YouTube series that I rewatched after years, and oh my god, there was actually like more content this time around for me to watch. That being Suction Cup Man. What a thrilling adventure this was. Genuinely, Suction Cup Man is such a fun piece of media to me. It's nostalgic, but also I think the Amnesia episode was unironically fantastic. Like, seriously, it was so good. The titular Suction Cup Man is certainly a protagonist. He's so fun, and the way the other characters have to navigate the story around him is so peak. Genuinely super funny, got a good amount of laughs out of me, 7.5 out of 10. And at number 7, we have Survivor US Season 2, The Australian Outback, which used to be my least favorite season of the show, but I think my opinion on it did slightly rise after this rewatch, where the biggest strength of The Australian Outback is the insane amount of returning players that we get from this cast, with the most important being the start of the Colby and Jerry dynamic, which is super great. We also get some drama in the pre-merge with Beef Jerky Gate. We get Scoopin' in the Fire, which obviously say what you will about the man, but this did make for really compelling TV, and the whole pig killing thing was just kind of nuts. We also got the iconic fight between Alicia and Kimmy. We got the iconic merge round with both Kucha and Ogakor trying to outmaneuver the other, and that was super fun to watch. But after that round, it does get a bit less interesting. At least we still had the incredibly heartwarming relationship between the likes of Roger and Elizabeth to go off of, and it was particularly nice on this rewatch. Tina's win is a satisfying one for sure, and I really like the contrast that we got with Hatch in the previous season. I do think the season loses steam where the last episodes really drag on, especially when there's like the whole reunion that happens, and then there's the thing of us catching up with the players after the show, which clearly this is just the show attempting to capitalize on the lightning in a bottle they had here, which I get, but sitting through that towards the end was particularly rough, especially since I was mostly binging the season. That being said, even though it's still most certainly going to be towards the bottom of my Survivor ranking, it is still Survivor and thus just good. 7.5 out of 10. Now, number 6, we have a manga that I finally finished at the behest of the anime experience, Pokemon Adventures Black and White, a manga that I really enjoyed. I'm personally fond of Pokemon. It's incredibly nostalgic for me. I weep for the children nowadays who try to collect Pokemon cards in the same way I once did. Damn, that's rough, dude. It got real quick there for a second. Yeah, I think it's a travesty. Actually, fun segue, why not? For those who don't know, I moved about a year and a half ago at this point, and having not been involved with Pokemon for a while, I didn't think anything of it. Then I went grocery shopping, as one does when they become older, and decided, you know what, it's been so long, I want to open a Pokemon pack. Imagine my surprise when I see nothing. So I talked to my coworkers about it, thinking that Pokemon must just be huge now where I reside, but no, it just so happened that as I had been away from Pokemon and moved, somewhere in that time frame, the Pokemon card market completely erupted. Actual insanity. I'm now kicking my 13-year-old self for selling his entire collection for $200. That's rough, buddy. I could have paid the bills with the profit would have made today. That's rough, buddy. I could have paid the bills with the profit I would have made today. Either way, I wanted to open a card pack that day anyways, so I opened a Goddess Nikke pack, which, yes, those exist, and also, yes, I have never played it, nor do I have any intention on doing so. However, I did get the ecstasy of opening a pack of cards. Sue me. Pokemon Black and White. I guess we'll start with the titular Black and White, where Black was a surprisingly okay protagonist by the end. I think he got better over time. It's a simple concept executed well, whereas with White, I actually really liked her journey throughout the narrative and found her to be a bit more impactful and nuanced overall. And yes, the dynamic between Black and White, super wholesome peak stuff, but N is really the reason that people read this, and I liked him. I think it'd be more apt to say that I appreciate him, where I think outright he's the best character in the manga. I'd hesitate to call him my favorite though. His story is tragic and I do like the concept a lot, and the execution on that concept does deliver. There just so happens to be this mysterious factor X that he was missing to really connect to me personally, and that is a shame because I want to like him more. I really like his actual story, but him as a character itself, not as much. 8 out of 10. Now, number 5, we have another Punishing Gray Raven media, this time being Floating Record 01 The Arc Beyond, which I liked a lot from multiple fronts. I really like Hikuma's story, and I guess to speak more broadly about PGR, Punishing Gray Raven's bread and butter is backstories, specifically the way in which it weaves short backstories in a very impactful manner where again and again I am blown away by how quickly the backstories make me care about any given character in this game. Either way, the game made me question moonsets. Yes, actually. Where sunsets just roll off the tongue, you know? They're great. Sunsets, super pretty. Sunrises, also pretty cool. I work a night shift, so my awake schedule is rather different from others. But I've seen a not small amount of sunrises as a result since I tend to sleep throughout the day. But no, I'm a fraud and a liar and a cheat. They were never sunrises at all that I was seeing. Clearly, they were moonsets. Which I guess, yes, technically that's a thing, but I never, in a single millisecond of my 21 years on this planet, have thought of the prospect of moonrises and moonsets. Truly, Punishing Gray Raven is shifting my worldview, man. Outside of that, Mother is here, yes, actually, and Spooner got a sprite, which is so funny to me since bro was literally in chapter 18, the main fucking chapter, and just did not have a sprite, but they gave him one here. Cool. The mecha boss fight with the earth in the background was cool visually, but genuinely a little bit miserable on the gameplay front. Not like actual misery, but it did feel like it went on a bit too long in my opinion. But either way, we were then rewarded with Nanami remembering Hikuma, and also one of the most emotionally charged individual monologues in PGR for me, with the narration, Hikuma clutches Nanami's hand. This is her first promise to herself, but one of her infinite identical promises in the infinite timelines. She will always become Nanami's friend. I loved this scene and the accompanying CG, I don't know what to tell you. Anyways, Martin makes a cameo at the end. How could it not be peak? In closing for this, I think Nanami is a very weird case. 100%, I understand why some people would really like her. It makes a lot of sense to me. That being said, she's not my favorite character in Punishing Gray Raven, and I still don't know if I even have her top 10. I think that there's even an argument for me personally that I might like Hikuma more as a character. I guess for clarity's sake, I probably do lean Nanami, but I think there's an argument. Either way, the arc Beyond is currently my 10th favorite Punishing Gray Raven story up to the point of reading it, with my top 10 at the time of reading in order being Chapter 17, The Surviving Lucum, Extra Story 05, Inscription of Labyrinth, Chapter 12, Kowloon Metropolis, Chapter 13, Fake Ascension, Chapter 11, No No Ouroboros, Extra Story '02 for a Night, Chapter 15, The Last Spark, Extra Story '04 Echo Aria, Extra Story 00 Frozen Darkness, and of course Floating Record '01 The Arc Beyond. Either way, 8.5 out of 10. Moving on to probably the shortest entry on the list, at number 4 I have ReZero Season 3, which spanned Arc 5, and to be honest, I really only watched half of it since I watched the first half back when it came out, and binged the second half a lot more recently. That being said, it was good. Arc 5 is not my favorite ReZero content personally, but I thought it was good nonetheless. Liliana was less annoying here than she was in the light novels, especially since we didn't have that entire POV chapter in the light novel. Oh my god, it was so bad. So bad, I hated it. The fight choreography was expectedly very good, and the pacing was great. Genuinely, I don't have that much to say about ReZero Season 3. Granted, I'm currently caught up to ReZero Season 4 at the time of recording. I'm currently waiting on the second core for that to come out at some point, but nonetheless, ReZero Season 3 is for all those folk who want their action content in ReZero. Season 4 will be for the people that want actual peak ReZero. Season 4 has been absolutely incredible. On the topic of it, I'll be waiting for the entire season to wrap before I cover it in the same manner I did for Season 3, but either way, Season 3, 8.5 out of 10. Now, number 3, we have another one that I'm gonna keep brief, that being Survivor US Season 50 in the hands of the fans. So they say. Season 50 was mid for me, to be honest. And I mean mid in the Survivor sense. My least favorite seasons of Survivor are still seasons of Survivor. I like all of them, obviously some more so than others. But season 50 here ends up placing somewhere in the middle of my season ranking, probably around like the 26 to 30 area. I certainly have my qualms with it, as I'm sure most people who watched it do. But I genuinely liked the season by the end of it. We have fun stuff in the pre-merge, like the Rizzo versus Charlie dynamic. We have Jenna blowing up her game early on. We have Kyle playing very impressively, only to be taken out in a medevac. We had the Blood Moon, which was largely disappointing, but we lost both Colby and Genevieve in this spot, two of my rooting interests, but it was compelling to watch, especially with Colby's speech towards the end, which I really liked. We had more of Coach and his coachism. Christian Devins and Emily were a fun group to watch. The Aussie blindside was just sad. We had another masterclass of a performance from Suri Fields, and somehow I come away from the season really liking Rizzo, where I liked him enough the first time, but I really liked his presence a lot on 50. All in all, it's like I said before, it's an okay season of Survivor, and that makes it a really good TV product. 8.5 out of 10. Moving on to number 2, and this is weird. I debated putting this on the list at all, not at the time of making the mosaic, but here and now in the scripting and recording process, we'll talk about why. But at the runner-up spot, I have Higurashi no Naku Koro ni Question Arcs. This is specifically the visual novel containing Onikakushi, Watanagashi, Tatarigadoshi, and Himatsubushi. The reason I debated including it at all is because I'm scripting this right now on the 23rd of June at 3:55 a.m. If you're wondering, I'm currently recording it, and it is 4:53 a.m. right now at this line. It's the craziest thing I know. That means that at the time of scripting, I had just finished Higurashi no Naku Koro ni Rei 3 hours and 10 minutes ago. That's the epilogue of the mainline series, which by proxy means, yes, I am done with Higurashi, at least what I intend to consume of it for the time being. And yet here, I am limited to talking only about the question arcs. So yes, if you've also only seen the question arcs, you're safe. I will not be bringing up the answer arcs at all, despite the fact that I really want to point out that I fucking called a specific moment in Watanagashi, which later got revealed in one of the answer arcs, and I felt so fucking vindicated that I pointed it out back when it happened in Watanagashi. Either way, my least favorite question arc is undoubtedly Himatsubushi. It's the shortest and also doesn't focus on the club members, which is my favorite part about Higurashi as a whole. That being said, I did enjoy Akasaka and Rika throughout the arc. Their dynamic was really good, and even just on their own, they were pretty solid. I liked Oishi as well, and seeing something other than June 1983 definitely did boon Higurashi as a whole, but it wasn't something that I personally was looking for. Next up is Tatari Gadoshi, my third favorite question arc. I think it has the best slice of life scenes of the question arcs personally. The dynamic between Satoko and Keiichi was super wholesome this go around up until it wasn't. Keiichi's slow breakdown was great, and that bastard Tepe got exactly what was coming to him. Next is Onikakushi, which was a great introduction to the story. I absolutely love the slow derangement it goes through with Keiichi's meltdown over time. I love the atmosphere on display in Onikakushi in particular. They just do, it's unsettling horror, and it's so good. But either way, lastly, my favorite question arc is Watanagashi, mainly because it was the one that I had the most fun trying to piece together, because I actively tried to piece it together. Where with Onikakushi, I didn't bother trying to solve it. Himatsubushi was an entirely different beast, And to Tarigadoshi, I fucking tried, man, but the Great Hinamizawa disaster was a complete roadblock for me. I had no fucking idea how that natural disaster came about. Watsunagashi, though, on the other hand, I did try to solve, and I had a lot of fun doing it. I really want to put my screenshots on screen because, yes, I have those of me slowly losing my mind while trying to solve it, coming up with a crack shot theory in the middle of my other theories, and the crack shot theory ended up being kind of right by the end, but I'll save those screenshots for the June video when I talk about the series at large so as to not spoil the mysteries behind Watanagashi itself. Either way, a great selection of arcs, 9 out of 10. And lastly, at number 1, the best piece of media that I got through in May 2026 is Aoi Tori, a very weird visual novel that I love. It's so stupid, but I love it anyways. To get it out of the way, it is an 18 and up read. Classic, can't overdo it. Starting and ending a media list with 18 and up reads. Who is this guy? Once again, can't overdo it is reading and critiquing another fucking eroge. But let's just get that eroge stuff out of the way because, oh my god, they are so fucking long in this. Like, genuinely, they are too long. The biggest jump scare in the entire game was that for the first, like, I don't know, 20, 30 minutes, it's just straight up eroge. Like, before the plot starts. Why? I don't know these people. I wouldn't care. Now, granted, being done with the series, I understand why it starts this way, but still, why? Either way, to be blunt, I really don't mind sex in media. However, I think there's very much a line, and this crossed it. I did start to mind simply because A, there's a lot of eroge scenes, and B, they are so long. Either way, as I said, Aoi Tori is stupid and I love it. What did I mean by that? We are Shiratori Ritsu, a young male priest, but uh-oh, he goes to an all-girls school? Oh, bummer, what a tragedy. Oh, and what's this? He has a special ability that allows him to take away all the negative emotions from people and replace them with emotions of pure bliss, and the most effective way to achieve such an outcome is coitus? And whoa, what's this? There's a literal devil on a flip phone and a vampire shows up and starts to live with him? It's so stupid. It's so stupid. Oh my god, it's so dumb. And I love it. It's dumb Chinubio bullshit, and I fucking love the execution. Mikako is logic personified, but her appearance in the Risa route is super compelling to me. I love the tragedy of those two sisters. Speaking of Risa, I really like her arc throughout the story. Sayo is an absolute trip throughout the entirety of the narrative in every single route, but the tragedy specific to her route is super compelling from Risa's point of view. Eri is a bundle of absolute sunshine, and speaking of sunshine, the whole scene with her basking in the sun was so fucking emotional for me, and it's what kickstarted my opinion that maybe, just maybe, Aoi Tori is good. The devil on the line is a fun antagonistic force throughout the entirety of the story, bringing some great laughs along the way, and their conclusion is really solid. Umino Akari has a whirlwind of a character arc, and I found my opinion on her fluctuating more so than any other character throughout the entire story. Despite everything, I come out of the story looking at her as one of my favorites, though I do personally like Mary Harker more. Again, she's just such a bundle of sunshine. And as Horizen would so eloquently put it, she's so Shenhe. All in all, I really like Aoi Tori, from its stupid but well executed premise to its insane references to the actual play. Yes, the real play called Aoi Tori that gets name dropped in the fucking visual novel. It's a great story. And to top it off, it was random chance that I read it at all. The very same Horizen that lost to Cappy in the button game 3-0, by the way, conceived an idea most ingenious, utilizing the powers of RNG and VNDB to gift himself a random visual novel to complete, and I did the same and landed on Aoi Tori. Wild stuff. Either way though, Aoi Tori is the best piece of media that I got through in the month of May 2026. 9 out of 10. As for what you can expect in June, I'm not gonna tell you. That's just my way of saying I'm done. I'm done talking. So yeah, as always, take care, y'all.